G'day, 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 ladies and gentlemen, and all those in between. Welcome back to another episode of Spectate the Player, where as a Chapter 1, Season 1 veteran, I'm bringing you guys the latest and greatest tips, tricks, strategies, and more to winning not only more games, but more crowns in Fortnite Chapter 6. Alright, now guys, if you are keen, as always, to see if this crown player up ahead here will be able to send it back for the 2 for 2. At the back-to-back crown wins, make sure you guys do hit that like button and you hit that subscribe button. Alright, we're going to have, of course, our very first spectatee over here. I'm going to try and bait out some of those shots just so he doesn't actually... There we go. Alright. Sometimes players will get quite confident in terms of when you just run at them, trying to kill them. Now, I don't really want to, like, damage him too much, but hopefully... There we go. Alright. We will have Deadpool774 as our very first spectator of the day here. He's going to give us a little bit of a boxing match there. Of course, Freaky Fields, a location that I'm actually quite glad to see come back to the Fortnite map. Now, there is the old TV where Saw came out back in Chapter 5's Fortnite Nightmares, which was quite cool, I think. You know, that was probably one of the best Fortnite Nightmares we've ever actually had. So, I do think that a lot of players are quite happy to see Freaky. Of course, they have placed it on the outskirts of the map, so this is some area that, I mean, for this loot run, in terms of where that bus was dropping, this is obviously a bit of a, a hotter drop. But, that being said, it is what it is. They've placed it on the outside, I believe mostly to sort of, give more of a shining light to the other more centrally located new POIs there. So, I do quite enjoy that. Deadpool, of course, running the modular Frenzy auto shotgun as well as the Stinger SMG. Two guns that I think a lot of players are going to be sleeping on this season. Right, that Stinger SMG is going to be doing an incredible amount of damage. In fact, I'm going to put up the stats on the screen right here, right now. But yeah, those are the stats right there. Very, very nice. Alright, great for early game, especially before people have even got their shields. Just fantastic for close range in general there. So, not something I, of course, will be going out of my way to carry as a slotted item. But, if that's all I can find, I do recommend picking that up. Frenzy modular shotgun as well, guys, is going to be another one that a lot of players are talking about being quite overpowered here. Here we go. It's just not enough. I can't believe it, but we do have Jar 2 Wavy. Absolutely proving me wrong. They're using the Sentinel plus the Fury. Right, this is going to be a hell of a combination here. The Fury, which is one of the more higher DPS guns in the game, of course, higher fire rate at the very least. That high fire rate, guys, is going to be quite nice. Right, it is going to be able to secure you a lot of kills, a lot of that DPS potential in your close to medium range fights. Alright, now you pair that with the Sweeper, you pair it with the Sentinel, you pair it with anything of the like, you guys are going to notice a very, very smooth early game sort of close range potential there. So we do definitely recommend, of course, the Fury, one of my most favorite guns actually of the chapter. Right up there next to the Holo Twister. But I do believe that if you guys can control that recoil, it is better than the Holo Twister. Here we go, Foot Barn going down. Jar 2 Wavy to the right here. Sending back Bubble Dragons. Let us see, of course, running the Veiled Precision still. He will drop it for the Wood Stake with regards to that Sweeper. It's going to be quite a pretty interesting sort of loadout here. Of course, running the Chainsaw as a form of mobility. A lot of players are going to like this, and a lot of players are going to be absolutely not a fan of this. You will have the NPCs up here, and guys, if you are looking for those shields, make sure you guys do go and interact with them. Right, interact with these NPCs, you'll get a random healing item. It could be anything from a medkit to bandages to shield pots, you name it. Alright, here we go. Someone with the broom here. It's going to be the Jason skin here, but the close range just isn't enough. Jar 2 Wavy just absolutely missing quite a few. I don't even know my skins, apparently. Ain't that a thing, but let us see. Of course, coming on out now, we do have Anonymous 262. 7 kills to the name for Anonymous, picking up the crown as well. A player over the distance there, going to be using minis. And the hotbar for this player seems to be quite interesting. They're going to be running the Stinger Great for close range. You've got the Holo Twister, which is your more medium to far. The Sentinel, or should we say the Sweeper here. The 87 for the Holo. And now for the SMG to get him to white. And the shotgun shot to send it home. Now that is a hell of a trifecta. We had a little bit of a Trinity force there. Alright, the holy Trinity of guns here. Is this the play? It very well might be. Of course, getting some health up here with the Med Mist. A Broom as well to rotate on out with. Making their way up, there is a car to the left. The G-Wagons, guys, these are going to be a man's best friend. A Fortnite player's best friend. Right, this is something that you guys are going to be able to use as forms of mobility as well as cover. Do not neglect it. Take advantage of it as much as possible here. And of course, a Holo Twister now for the long range. Of course, bursting him down from the seams. At least it seems. Taco Hands 33. Of course, this is going to be known as Bot Field over here, guys. Rainbow Field, Bot Field. It goes by many names over this past chapter. There are going to be a lot of players here. Why they land here is anyone's guess. Of course, at the moment, Anonymous 262 is on the outskirts of the zone, so they really want to start rotating on in, to the center of the zone here. Places of interest could include Gordy Gate. You could check out the vault here. Now, these vaults are going to open up in the second zone. Alright, so right at the beginning there. Of course, an airstrike clearing way. And he's waiting to see who runs out of there. That zone is moving. And if there is a player inside, which it looks like someone at least was expecting so, well, he wants to be able to catch them off guard. Now there's shots out to the right here. Anonymous 262 deciding to ignore the shots and head on into zone. Looks like someone's on top of the tree there. Shots coming down, of course, from the front now. Potentially from the mountain, no. Someone with the exotic Hot Rock Fury rifle over here. And another car as well, which is very, very close to exploding. I would go and personally try and shoot out that car. A Popizo will be getting a kill there with the crown as well in chat. 9 kills to the name for Anonymous 262. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have enjoyed this episode so far, make sure you guys do hit that like button and you hit that subscribe button. Alright, now rotating on out now back into the pickup truck. Top 30 here for Anonymous 262. And when you get into this stage of the game, especially with 9 kills to your name, you're going to have a pretty confident sort of setup, right? I feel like you are going to be a confident player. He's got his last call, which is going to be one of the more... a lot of players are saying it is very overpowered. A lot of players are saying it is well balanced, right, guys? In terms of like where I sit with it, I haven't given it much of a go. You guys have, however, been singing its praises with regards to mobility. So let us see here. And now he comes on out. Of course, the close range. He will be dealing between 55 to 70 damage, depending on what stage of the animation you're in. Some footsteps in the house, but of course, it should just be the NPC there. It's going to be, I believe, Velma from the Scooby-Doo looking for some mysteries, potentially. And of course, 22 players are left now. And some shots outside is going to be quite disheartening to hear. But let us see who else we've got. We've got Phantom, no T-Towel, 87, of course, with the kill. 8 kills to the name for Jesse 1212. Running the OXR here. Going to be a hell of a combination. Of course, I believe this is the M&M skin. One of the original Slim Shady skins there. Of course, Jesse 1212 running 9 kills to the name now with the NPC. But they've got the car. I'm keen to see what sort of loot they are running here. They're going to be running down southwards over to Gordy Gate. Potentially Ranger's Rest will open up another rotation ability. Alright there, another rotation opportunity, should we say. And of course, a fuel station up ahead here, which will be great for not only fuel, but also your health of the vehicle. Do remember, guys, if you want to get this done quicker, parking on multiple fuel pads is the best way to go. Right, this is going to compound. Anonymous 262, they're getting a kill on Shield Horse. He's going for some cheeky little materials there. Waiting for that NPC, and he is going to be out of there. So I think I do like what this player is doing, right? You want to be getting in and out of these spots pretty quickly. You do not want to be really sort of spending an awful lot of too much time there. And of course, nearly 10 kills to the name. Now, this is where the drop pod is coming on in here. Right, the drop pod is going to be quite handy. It's going to be quite useful. You're going to get a really nice weapon from this, as well as some shields, some other items as well. He's waiting, potentially using it as bait, but he goes for it. Here is the lead spitter. And then there's going to be some slurp juice as well. So a really, really nice sight there to see is going to be that slurp juice, as well as the mythic wood stake shotgun there, making a very, very cheeky appearance. Coming up and around now, Jesse 1212, approaching the top 10. Currently 10 other players on the map here, so top 11. If you guys are enjoying this so far, make sure you guys do hit that like button as well, guys. Make sure you help us reach that goal of 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Look, it is probably not going to happen. We might need to switch the date. I think we've got to switch the date. Let me know when we should switch the date to. Should we give it 6 months? I think 6 months is fair. You know, we've done all this in 10 months. Here we go, of course. Someone flying on over there using the jump pads, which is going to be one of the, is it 3 or 4 mobility items in the game right now. Of course, a long range here with the OXR. Putting in the damage, putting in the heat. Scooby watching, of course, the main flank there. The Valve Precision is going to be doing some damage. At least at close range, but far away, this is where, oh my days, not many shots were even really hitting there. He needs to take a deep breath and he needs to tap fire with the OXR. This is not a spray gun. And of course the wood stake, you know, it is going to be a chippy gun. It is going to be a chippy shotgun. Unlike your other shotguns, it will fire only one pellet. Alright, a Papizo will be going down there. Of course, trying to make their way with the last call. They will have Scooby snacks, plus these slurp juice for the double heals. Right, in terms of mobility, they've only got the last call, so they want to make it count. Jesse 1212 picking up the crown there. Well played to Jesse. Cheeky little Scooby snacks to give him that increased or slash infinite stamina for a little moment anyway. It's going to help him with that rotation. Right, I would be looking for high ground here. I would be going back to my car personally, trying to rotate in. Trying to find the rest of the players, especially trying to catch players who are rotating on in, who are late rotates. If you guys are a late rotate, do bear in mind that you're going to find a lot of players out there who are going to be a little bit late as well. So you can actually take advantage of them by waiting, sort of like maybe up on this mountain here. You could also maybe wait on top of the fuel station or behind it, alright, around these trees, maybe around there, or even up on the mountain near Shiny Shaft, or Viney Shaft should we now call it. You know, and catch these players who are rotating in a little bit later, alright, because they're going to have that zone on their back. They're going to be quite forced and rushed, and this is where players will make mistakes, so definitely is going to be a hell of an option to take, especially if you guys want to get that advantage on the rest of the lobby. A blue sentinel here that he walks past says, but I don't need it. He does not need it at all. He has got the mythical wood stake shotgun, so I feel like there's a lot of playoff potential here. Of course, checking down south there, over into Viney Shafts. He believes, oh, the full damage. He didn't quite stick the landing. FLCD Havoc, with 6 kills to the name, has now made it into the top 5 quite handsomely, quite securely, should we say. Unfortunate behavior there by the M&M skin. That is actually very, very disappointing. Let me know down below in the comment section, guys, if you have had a death like that, you know, where the game is going your way, where you're arguably one of the better players in the lobby. And, yeah, then fall damage happens, gravity occurs. And let us see where they decide to go here. So, coming on down on top of the house here. Potentially a restaurant. I tell you what, I've never seen much served here. I would say there's a potential for money laundering to be going on. Not too sure how they afford the rent. Finchy, of course, eliminating Raw Tiger. Raw Tiger eliminating another. It is now a top 2 scenario here. And the zone is looking quite peculiarly small. Right now, when you guys have games like this where we have had quite a lot of players get quite a lot of elims, and you guys are going to notice the fact that, hey, you know, these are going to be more often than not some larger zones with, you know, very few people. So I feel like, you know, when you guys get these hollow zones, it can be a good thing. It can also be a bad thing. Right, on the bad side, it's kind of like you got to be a little bit more prepared, right? Watching your flanks, watching your surroundings, because there is just so much flank potential, right? There is so much play potential there if you're looking to catch another player off guard in that hollow zone. All right, now FLCD here, jumping around back over to the drop pod. Finchy Man 96, of course, running the Skull Trooper skin, plus that the Black Knight sort of shield there. One of the more, I would dare say, rarer items in the game. Potentially a Chapter 1 player we are seeing right now. Running that Hop Rock Fury Assault Rifle in the Eradicator variant. Now, this is going to be the exotic variant, guys. After you do shoot, you'll get a mini Flowberry Fizz effect, which of course will disable full damage as well as increasing mobility items trajectory, right? You're going to be able to travel further, farther, higher, you name it. All right, these both players here are going to have a substantial amount of kills. When they meet eventually up in the zone here, I feel like, in terms of who might win, I would dare say Finchy, just judging by the loadout here. I mean, he's got the Hot Rock Fury, plus a Wrecker, which are two very nice guns. Now, this guy, right, FLCD does have the Legendary Fury and the Wrecker, so it's kind of even, but, you know, I would dare say that Finchy might be able to take this home. And let us see, of course, flying on down here. He's using this redeploy as well to be able to check his surroundings. Some more loot down below. You can mark that medkit on the map. Sort of just keep a mental inventory there of, okay, here is where some shields are. Here where I can go to pick that up. You know, just in case you guys do get into a fight, especially with the top two, you want to be able to rotate out and you want to be able to try and grab a little bit more heal. Right, this is where it is all going to make a huge difference. You can see him over there. Redeploying. FLCD has locked onto him. He has clocked him. He says, Butter, I'm going for this. I think I can do it, of course. He's got the Legendary Fury here. The Scooby Snacks for heals. Old mate in the bush there. He's going to be checking up on this mountain. Alright, Finchy now. Checking back down over to him. Trying to find him. Using this hill as a natural form of cover here. Because you won't actually be able to shoot this hill. And due to like an optical effect, he will be hidden right here. So he's going to be using that to his advantage as much as possible. Alright, coming out now. Trying to peek out through this bush. Trying to spot him. FLCD, of course, is going to be doing a similar trick right here. Trying to get some little off shots, or should we say pot shots, into that bush. Trying to see maybe is he rotating, maybe is he still in the bush. Of course, he is in this bush. And now taking advantage of that car. Yeah, this is where you want to be laying in those bullets. You need to be trying to remove that car from the game. FLCD getting quite a few shots here. Finchy now returning fire with the reload. Trying to move back here. His overshield is down. Coming up to the right for the 26. FLCD popping the Scooby Snacks. He's got quite a lot of heals there. So if Finchy does want to send this home, he's going to have to be a little bit more persistent than that. Alright, now with the car. Coming into the close range. Finchy here returning fire. He's into zone, taking maybe a lot of damage here. His health is looking quite low, but the broom for the redeploy. Coming up, no, he will decide against going for the 1v1 up close. He's going to try and make his way down to the tree here. It's just not looking great. Finchy going to potentially, yes, for the sideways flank. He's got the Hop Rock Fury. This is going to be able to give him that increase sort of jump as well as just general trajectory here, right? You're going to be able to get a lot further there using that mini Hop Rock effect. Of course, that zone is on the back for FLCD. I think Finchy's got it, but he goes for the broom. Will it be enough? The 28 for the 112. And here we go. A couple more shots here. He's so close, but he doesn't have enough ammunition. He's got to switch to the Wrecker. But he's just not doing it. He's absolutely trying to be a die-hard with the Fury. It might be enough, though, but here we go. Finchy sending it back for the crown. Back-to-back crown wins there. FLCD will be going down, ladies and gentlemen. If you did enjoy that episode, make sure you hit that like button. You hit that subscribe button, and as always, take care. Garnier.